Double trouble, I got double trouble, I got double trouble. Twice as much as anybody else, oh yeah.
Scotty's Elvis Presley music channel. Welcome to the Elvis Forum. Hi, Scotty and Craig.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. And what I love is you all have biblical names, which is wonderful.
We do not.
No. Commoners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My pastor at my church, he's passed on. He lived to be 101, but he was he started our church that I attend back in 1953. But as he got older, he would see me on Sundays, and he used to always say, every time without fail, Mark, the perfect man. And because there's a reference of that in the Bible, and I'd always tell him, no, there was only one perfect man, that was Jesus. So I don't, so he would always say that to me, though.
What made you start your channel anyway, Scott? Because I remember around about the time.
To be honest, I was getting into collecting vinyl, and then I remember buying the turntable I've got now, which is the very same one. I've never changed it. And I wanted to see how YouTube worked. So I figured if I could put a record on there and film it, what would it sound like? What would it look like? And it was very, very basic. Put the first one up. And then I was kind of inspired by Ed from the King's Court. And there was a guy at the time called Your Elvis Guide who's just started up again. Alexander.
Yeah, Alexander, yeah.
I was fascinated by his channel when he first started because he used to do a bit of editing and so on. So then that led me to think, well, maybe I could do something like that. Because I always had an idea of how I wanted to do it. As Craig mentioned earlier, I wanted it to include the music. I look back on some of my earlier videos and they're embarrassing. I'll be totally honest. I don't like them. If I could get rid of them, I would, because I can do them better now. But equally, I didn't like the style that I had then. And even now, the style that I had now, I'm still constantly working at it to think, well, maybe can I do it a better way? Can I incorporate different information and so on and so on? So I then felt, well, maybe I can sit in front of the camera. As you know, a face for radio. Maybe I can do presenting to a basic level. But it's like anything. If you constantly persist and you try to get better at something, you just might get better at it. Now we're learning all the time, and I'm not saying that it's the finished article by any means, but I'm trying to raise the bar each time by trying to think about different things and different experiences and different segments. But it's difficult to keep coming up with new ideas because, as you know, if you've had a channel for a long time, and I don't know how long mine's been going, the date that's on YouTube isn't correct because actually making videos, maybe 5-6 years, I don't know, but it's hard.
I worked out over 7 years.
Is it 7 years? Wow. Yeah. 7 years. And I haven't done that many videos. I think we've done 200 and something, 270 something, which isn't a lot. There's channels out there that have far more videos, but it was always quality. Try to have it quality rather than quantity. But if I do it, it's got to be right. I want it done right, and I want it to look as professional as I can. So if it takes me 3 weeks to get a video out, it takes 3 weeks. I'd love to be able to do them every week because, as you know, with algorithms and stuff like that, if you constantly put videos out, you're more likely to get them viewed. So I know that's a byproduct of not doing them as much as what I should, but they're not thrown together.
No. I think one of Scott's key strengths is humour. So we take the subject very seriously, but not ourselves. We don't. And I think that's quite engaging about Scott when I watch it. And I'm his brother, so I've got a vested interest and I'm probably biased. But I do like his humour. whether that's an English sense of humour. But you know, don't take yourself too seriously, because you can't, can you? Because there's some.
But
I mean,
Elvis never
no,
did he? Never
no.
took himself seriously. It's very rare that you would get a straight answer from him. He was always self-evasing, and you know the great quote from the '72 interview, which I watch often, where the guy says, "Oh, you're his favourite singer," and he goes, "That's funny. He's my favourite skier." He was so quick-witted and stuff like that, and that's always stuck in my mind. I thought, if I could incorporate a little bit of that into the videos, don't take yourself too seriously. Yes, take the subject seriously, but if you can just make it a little bit humorous, try. So that's where I'm at the moment with the videos. Like I say, sometimes there might be too much information in them. I don't know, but it's kind of, I enjoy the editing aspects of it as well, because editing, you'll know this, Adam, and Mark, I know you've had a go at it, and David, I know you do it as well, but you lay down a layer, a base, and then you build on top of that, and you build and you build and you build. Then you add the music, and then you add the facts, but always in my mind, I'll have kind of a script that I want to do. So likewise, if I do a video that Craig writes, and he will say to me, I said, well, just send it over. So in effect, that will be the script. And then from there, I will develop the video, and it will grow and grow. And the day that I get, there's many a time where I've uploaded it, but kept it private. And then I've taken it down and I've re-edited it again because something's come into my mind. And it drives me crazy because I can spend an inordinate amount of time on one video, too much time.
You're a perfectionist, and that's not a bad thing.
It is, but equally, you know, I could be out having a life sometimes as well. So it gets to the stage where I think, do I really need to stick that fork in further because it's done already? Do you know what I mean?
Well, just hearing what you're saying, you're probably your own worst enemy, and that's why your content is so good, because you do put that effort and that time into it. Because anything of quality, it takes time. So,
and there's no easy way. It's if you want quality, you have to invest the time into it. But that time comes at a price, doesn't it? Because there's other stuff you could be doing that you're not doing, because ultimately you want to. If I put a video up, the comments are just as important to me as I don't care about the views really. Obviously, I like them to do well, but if they don't, it doesn't matter. But the views mean an awful lot to me. Where someone will say, "Oh, that was so well done," and that's what drives me on to do the next one and the next one.
Yeah.
And that's why whatever you put out, try and make it the best you can. That's always been my mantra. You know, there might be maybe times that we fail, but equally there'll be times where I watch stuff and I'll watch it back and I think, yeah, that was all right. I quite enjoyed that. That was quite good. But equally, there's times where I watch back some of my early videos and I think, we learn.
Well, I am being. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
One of my you're talking about the humor and everything, and I think that is required. I think one of my favorite videos was when you had someone digging outside and you're trying to make your video. I just see you shouting at the.
Yeah, no, there's plenty of those, and you know there are. You know, sometimes I'll do it in one take, and other times I won't. And you know, where you could have done an intro 5 or 6 times, you think, for God, am I going to get this right in the end? I'd end up getting wound up.
Yeah.
But then you have to relax and think, right, you can do this.
How do you guys view watching your own channels? Do you like watching yourselves?
Absolutely not. Because I don't feel it's funny, and this isn't to deprecate myself, but like when I watch, for example, Scotty's videos, and then I watch mine, I think, good Lord, it's like a Mercedes to a Pinto. Like there's just no comparison. And it's not knocking what I do, but I wish I had the resources. The time is the biggest part, because I do have young daughters. It's just, but yeah, I don't feel like I do my channel justice, and you know, I do the best I can. I try to put out content that is interesting, but that's going to shine a positive light on who he is as an artist. And you know, David's and Adam's, even Adam's got really, really good with editing. That's just not my forte. And I wish I did have that. But you know, I just feel like if you're genuine and you're sincere, and you know you're not sugarcoating something or presenting something just for the sake of getting views or subscribers, then you're doing yourself justice and you're doing Elvis justice.
I've noticed, David, particularly with your channel, because I remember. Do you remember when you first wrote to me when you was thinking of starting the channel?
Yeah.
And I've never forgotten that. And one, you had no need to do it, but you were such a gentleman over it, and I really appreciated that. But I've seen you grow. So when I looked at your first videos, and now you add quite a lot of humour into yours. You sing sometimes, which I really, you haven't got a bad voice actually, which I like. So I've seen your particular, the way that you deliver and how you present has changed dramatically from your first videos to where you're very comfortable in front of the camera now.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's like everything. The more you do it, the more comfortable you become. And with Adam and Mark, I remember watching your, and this is not being disrespectful to you anyway, but where you used to say,
Oh yeah, it still drives me crazy.
No, but you don't hardly see it at all anymore. And you've improved. Watch that picture, mate. You've improved so much. So he's leaning against my lower picture. I don't want that damage.
On your radio.
Yeah, you can see the transition from like when you first do it to where, you know, most of us are at now. There's been a huge dramatic change. It's very rare that you see someone that comes on the screen first of all and they've got it. It's very rare.
Well, especially from where you started. I remember when I first found your channel, you were still, I think it was the blue Hawaii FTD vinyl. You had it on your bed and you were opening it.
Yeah.
And then when you first came before a camera, I'm like, there is a face to the voice.
Those I'd get rid of because I don't like them. And there's somewhere I'm being really like doing stupid things in the videos, and I think you might think it's zany British humour, but I look back on it now and I find it quite embarrassing. I'd rather keep professional, but still keeping your personality into it, because personality, we're all very different, but as there's room for everyone, isn't there? As we said right at the very start of this, there's room for everyone, and there's not one channel that it's not caught my attention. There's some channels I prefer more than others, of course, but you know, it's also healthy to know what other people are doing, isn't it? Because it can give you ideas.
Scotty's the master editor, man. I was mentioning to somebody here recently about your videos. I said, man, like if Netflix or anybody wants to come calling, man, he's your guy. It's just so well done.
It's rudimentary in a way. There's other things I want to do, but I haven't got the software to do it. And to be honest, I don't know if I could do it because I'm not of that era where I'm a computer whiz. I'm not. It literally something I've taught
never
myself,
know.
but I would like the opportunity to be able. I have ideas, and I think, I'd love to be able to do that, but I can't. I don't know how to do it.
Well, what I see and everything is just top notch. It's just so well done, and then the writing from Craig and I've mentioned to you that your channel's the standard, so it's what inspired me.
That's very kind.
Yeah.
Scotty, I noticed, is that your new your room?
It's a bit of it. It's not finished, but
It looks great.
I didn't want to sit where we normally sit because that's just for record, music and stuff. And this is where I was just saying to Adam and David earlier, this is where I'll do voiceovers for videos and so on. But that's originally what I intended it to be. But now it's kind of turned into something else. I'm going to have, like you see behind me every week when I'm in front of the music, I'm going to get another cabinet here because I'm running out of space, as we all are. So it's kind of turned into something different than what I originally envisaged. But it is what it is, isn't it?
You're saying earlier that's some dedication, ripping out a bathroom to.
Yeah, and I did it all myself. I ripped
to create another Elvis room.
Yeah, because it was an ensuite that I never used, and I never used it because I wouldn't have a steaming shower going in here with all my Elvis stuff. So I just figured the best way is just to rip it out, which I did. I got a plasterer in to plaster it. It still needs flooring because the whole carpet needs changing in the room. But they can't. I was looking for an offcut rather than spend a bloody fortune on a piece of carpet. So I've been waiting about 3 months now, but It all takes time, and it's all money, you know.
Yeah.
As we were saying earlier, been inundated with releases of late. What do? Do you get a carpet, or do you buy the latest release?
It's been enjoyable watching your videos and watching you sort of build that room.
Yeah, I mean, would it have been right of me today to give its premiere on here? Probably not, because I'd rather show it on my channel first. But
Yeah.
I thought we'll show a little bit of it. And I've done a video from here before when I was doing Paul Warner's book. I did
the
a little
book.
here, just because it was just something different just to look at. And I know we all have our familiar backdrops, which I really like. I mean, they're all great backdrops. I'm glad to see Mark made the effort today. But apart from that, it's a wonderful thing.
I would love to have a dedicated Elvis room, but I'd have to get that past the boss. But no, I have all my Elvis stuff. I have on 3 different floors. I have right behind me. I have a massive amount of. I have all my FTD books, my Lorenzen books, everything, and then in the living room, I have all my FTD, all my original pressings, and then in my office in the basement, I have all my FTD CDs and other things. So, yeah, it drives her crazy. But I would love to have a dedicated room. I just don't have the space for it.
I'll tell you what, mine's caused some angst in with the missus. It really has, because this is probably the biggest room in the house, and I acquisitioned it.
Yeah.
What the ensuite?
Yeah, the ensuite, yeah.
Well, and it's funny. I read so many comments from people. I just saw one last week where they're like, with new releases coming out, and man, the wife's going to have me sleeping on the sofa. And it seems to be the message for everybody's spouses that my wife will sometimes say, I don't know how you could be into somebody's who passed away 45 years ago. I'm like, you just don't. People who aren't into it and understand it just don't get
I think
it.
it may be a man's domain to collect and want somewhere to keep it, like a man cave. It's become really popular here in the UK, and no doubt around. You see some people's man caves, and they're absolutely unbelievable. The ones where they've got cars in them, or pinball machines, and boot boxes and stuff like that. I mean,
there's a guy, I don't know if you've ever seen him. It's called Minties. He's from Australia, and he does. The topics are always about movies and TV shows. 10 things you didn't know about, maybe trading places. 10 things you didn't know about, and it's all related to TV and movies. And he's got a room that it's unbelievable. It looks like an old Blockbuster video. Are you familiar with what they are? Do you have them there? It's like an old Blockbuster video store. It's in his house. He's got, and like Scotty just said, he's got all the arcade machines. He's got the racks. He's got a big Blockbuster sign in the back, but it's nostalgic. It is the coolest thing. But I thought about converting the theme down in my basement to an Elvis room. But like I said, I'd have to get approval.
Seek it, young man, seek it.
I've noticed a lot of guys who collect records are also into collecting movies and also collecting things like action figures.
Yeah, 100%. I've seen some rooms where they've got like all the Marvel figures and stuff like that. It's just, you've got to have the disposable income to do it, and sometimes where I'm self-employed, if I'm having a quiet month, that's reflected in what comes in. But that's why I've had to make a promise to her indoors that I'll stick to just essential purchases.
You just need to tell her, Scotty, you have some disposable income and you'd like to dispose of it.
Yeah, no. All right. Well, you'll see me the following week with a black eye, no doubt. I'm not going.
Did any of you guys collect anything before you started collecting Elvis stuff? I mean, not necessarily records, but other things. Was that collector gene there earlier on in life?
No, it's just Elvis that's fueled it for me. Nothing else really. And I
think I started quite early. I remember when I was about 7 or 8, I had a big collection of marbles. And I remember I couldn't take. We moved, and my mum said you can't take them. And I remember choosing about 24 marbles to take with me. I had a drawer full of marbles.
When did you lose your marbles, David?
What's that?
When did you lose your marbles?
I lost my marbles where I was living at the time. We moved a distance of 8 miles, and it seemed a long time. It seemed a long distance at the time. I couldn't take my marbles with me.
Oh, that's sad though. I'm really upset by that. Maybe you should start up another collection.
No, I've got no space for
How
marbles.
old would you have been?
Like I said, about 8 when it was 1975,
Oh, okay.
so I was 8. Yeah.
That's fair enough.
And then I started, for some reason, I started collecting beer mats when I was about 11 or 12. Maybe you call them coasters in America, Mark.
Pub.
What's that?
Was you going to the pub then at 11 or
No, I wasn't really going to the pub. Not very often, anyway. My dad used to run pubs, and my family would, just get them for me when they went drinking somewhere. So I ended up with a big collection of beer mats. So that was something else. I think I've got a bit of a collector's gene in me.
I've often felt that the Elvis is like a chicken and an egg, because are you a collector? You have to be interested in Elvis before you become a collector. Mm-hmm. I mean, Scott was about this earlier, where I don't predominantly see myself as a collector. I have all the FTD CDs, many of the books, but I don't see myself as a collector. I buy those for the purpose of I love the music. The books are a fantastic aid for my research and when I write things. So would I class myself? I mean, I don't have the records that Scott has. I don't have the records that you have, David. I know I've seen your collection, Adam. Mark, I know you're into records and CDs, etc. But for me, it's more important about the man as opposed to being a collector. I don't know if that makes sense, but you can't have one without the other. You can't.
I totally agree, and it's always about the music first. I'm a collector of his music, and the rest of it's a byproduct of that. Really,
that's probably that's probably the best analogy I've heard anyone say. What Craig just said, because I see a lot on social media. I don't have to have every single thing. Number one, I'd be filing for bankruptcy, and I'd probably be sleeping on the sofa every night. But I cannot. I don't have to have every single thing that comes out, every boot, what I do have. I do own, as I know Adam does. We own everything FTD. That took me a number of years to get to. I love the MRS. I think they're brilliant. And I love the books. I absolutely think the books, especially the FTD books, are just top quality. But you see some people, like, every single thing that comes out, oh, I gotta pre-order it. Like, if it's not something that is essential and something that I know I'm going to listen to and enjoy, then I'm not going to get it. Because
totally agree. I was sorry, before you jump in, I was speaking to Scott the other day, and I've just done my Elvis room because one of my sons has moved out. My other son's room, he's moved into his bigger room. So now I have the third biggest bedroom in the house. So that became my Elvis room.
And I've got the biggest room.
Yeah.
Right.
And
do a special video on your room, Craig.
Sorry?
We'll have to do a special video on your room.
Now that we can use Adam's StreamYard account, we're going to do a link up. He's all right with that, ain't you, Adam?
Anytime, Scotty.
But that's the thing, though, because there will be some people that will collect, as you rightly said, Mark, that will collect everything and they'll keep it sealed. What is the point in keeping it sealed? You've got to listen to the music. That's the whole point of it. When a record first came out, well, we'll talk 56 when his first album came out, the clamour was, let's get that record, let's get it on the turntable, let's listen to him. That was the whole point. And I think some of that has disappeared, which is a real shame. So when everything does come out now, like, for example, the Girl Happy sessions, I've got 12 other sessions up there that I think there's up bar one that I've opened. But the fact that I played the Girl Happy one and it was such a stunning release, I was really enamoured with it. Mm-hmm. I think, I wonder what the others are. But bearing in mind, I have listened to the other FTD CDs because obviously Craig's got them all. And I know Mark and Adam, you've done reviews on certain CDs and so on. So I know what they sound like, but to have it all in one place, for me, they're probably the product of the moment. I think they're fabulous.
Mm.
Well, to me, a collection is a very personal thing. And I think that's what people get away with. They look at it as almost like it becomes like Elvis and enjoyable to, like it's a collector's, put it up on a pedestal. And it's just like, if it's not something that I'm going to just sit and look through and enjoy, then, what's the purpose of having it? And it's just, to me, it's just a very, personal thing, and what you enjoy and what you love.
You miss out. You miss out on so much.
One, I said to start, the point I was going to make earlier is that one of my biggest joys is to sit in my room at my listening to the music and then writing my next piece of work that we're going to visit at some point. And I get so much joy from that, to research. I mean, it isn't for me, though. I've seen on some podcasts where they will state that they have no interest in the man, they're only interested in the music. I don't think you can have one without the other, because
where's the connection?
Exactly. So I'm doing a piece of work at the minute on the Stamps, the Blackwood Brothers, and Where No One Stands Alone, which obviously ties in with Lisa Marie as well, because she's done a duet of her father. But when you go down that rabbit hole of the gospel quartets, and you realise how predominant they were in his life, and for me, they are the biggest source of inspiration for his music. Even the way he looked, with the sharp suits, the hair, those guys were dressing like that in the early 50s, late 40s. And when you see the links between all the members and his links to them, and where, the Blackwood Brothers sang at his mother's funeral, they sang at his funeral, and Billy Blackwood, with his group, the Blackwood Brothers, now even sang at Lisa's funeral.
Mm.
A fantastic link. And when you dive deep into particular subjects where you can link them all together, to me, that is joy. And I've been working on this piece of work all week. When I finish my work, of course, music on, coffee, and it's just pure, unadulterated joy to research. That is what I love.
I haven't told him yet it's not going to get made.
No. Well,
well, no,
there's a in the pipeline that we're still waiting for to get on.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and that's the sort of joy I get from watching your videos. It's that the passion about the music, but the storytelling and the history, and then just to top it off, Scotty loves a nice bit of hi-fi as well, and it's just,
I mean,
all those things put together just make the perfectly created video for me.
I mean, me and Scott,
I really enjoy them.
We're very different in the sense that what's really important to Scott is he loves to do his reviews, and I think in a unique way, with the editing and bringing it to life, because we always said at the beginning that, well, Scott started it before I got involved, that the channel always had to involve the music. You had to be able to listen to the music. So it was never a money thing, was it? And we made the mistake once of putting on one of our videos about, if you want to buy us a coffee or something.
Yeah.
We're so far away from that now, because that doesn't interest us. We don't make any money from any video at all. Hence why we play the music. But I think it's very difficult to have an Elvis channel without the music. And I'm not knocking anyone that doesn't have the music, because you can talk about the music, but I think it's so more expressive. When you can see someone's reaction to, I mean, I'm not a big lover of reaction videos because they're two a penny now. But even when I see Scott and he'll turn up a particular track and he's really into it, there's a bit of joy there. There's unbridled joy in something like that, and it always had to involve the music. Secondly, we always wanted to tell a story. Some stories that some people won't know. Some stories that because you're always learning, aren't you? There's not one of us sitting here that knows everything. You can't. The subject is too big, and you go down one rabbit hole, it takes you down another rabbit hole, and it's an endlessly fascinating story. And part of the thing was, we got the reviews, so we could have called it Scotty's Elvis review channel for everyone, but Mark, you cornered that. But that is the philosophy, where we want to do something for everyone, really. I mean, some of those. I mean, we did a video on acceptance about the JC's award, and when that first started, it was 55 minutes long, was it? with your commentary on it. And I remember Scott doing it, and he wasn't feeling very well at the time. And that took so much research and writing and putting together. And when you first release it, you think, oh, that ain't gone over too well. It didn't fly with the reviews. But now we go back to it somewhat 3-4 years later. What's
3 years. 3 years.
Where is it now? 60,000, 55,
yeah,
60,000. But
That's
then we
amazing.
said, is it about views? It's not, is it really? It's about getting your work out there to promote the legacy and to speak the truth as we see it. It doesn't matter about views because there's so many clickbaits, aren't there? And they drive us crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Scotty and I talk about clickbaits. Some of them are so outlandish and ridiculous. I want to reach through the TV and punch them.
Did you see that one the other day? My Happiness, recently discovered song. Listen to Elvis sing a song you've never heard before.
I saw it night before, either last night or the night before.
It came out in the greatest performances in the early 90s, didn't it? Christ.
Yeah.
Well, and then it, I don't know why it really makes me angry when they you see ones about, see the ambulance pictures of them taking Elvis away the day he died. Like, that is so disrespectful.
Don't talk to me about that bloody ambulance.
It's disrespectful, but people flock to it
On every level. Yeah. But I'm not going to that road. Me and Scott spoke about that many times.
Although
there ought to be a YouTube mechanism that like picks up clickbaits and bans it, because it's ridiculous.
There is room for everyone. Elvis said it with the music and performers. There's and entertainment. There's absolutely room for every type of channel you want. I would just like to see some sort of crackdown on some of these vile channels. There's some vile content on Elvis out there, especially on TikTok as well. It's a disgrace. But there is room for everyone. And as long as everyone's promoting the man, the music, and doing
in a respectful way.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with it and never have.
But there's some channels you can watch and you wonder if they actually like Elvis. I've seen some stuff and I question, do you actually like him?
Yeah.
Scotty, I have a question for you.
I'm eagerly awaiting your question, sir.
Directly between you and Craig, what is that release that caught my eye?
Which one?
Right in the middle. It's with the different cup. No, down one. Right there. Yeah, what is that?
That's the UK Double Trouble film poster.
Oh, okay.
Oh, isn't it? I'll tell you what, in the UK, we had some really unusual designs compared to the American. So
I love that.
I've got quite a lot of all of them around the room, but I started with the American and then I made a contact. She owned all the original UK film posters. So I have some originals and some are obviously reproductions. But from that, I was able to kind of cherry pick which ones I wanted. And I always wanted that Double Trouble one because I think it's quite striking. I also like the UK Speedway, which is different from the American. The colours are different. And I think it's
I can see a Japanese charo over your right shoulder.
Oh, yeah, I've got two. Yeah, you can see it. I love that one.
Are the posters pretty pricey? The originals?
I was just saying, yeah, it depends. I mean, David will know this because I think I spoke about it on one of my videos. Well, presumably he watched it. Of course he did. I did. I've got two original Japan ones. I've got Spin Out and I've got Harem Scarum because they're kind of the ones that are kind of easy to get.
Yeah.
Then I bought a few more, and then
that one there, right?
Yeah, that's it. And then they turned up damaged, so I had to send them back. But whenever you're dealing with anybody Japanese, they are ever so polite and they're ever so, they want to do anything they can to make it right for you. And I love that about dealing with the Japanese. So, yeah, I've got a couple of frames already made up for that size that's behind you, David. Which ones did I buy? I bought Speedway and It Happened at the World's Fair, which are also quite ready available.
Girls one. That's a great one, isn't it?
Yeah, so, I've got a Japanese Girls, because that's my favourite movie poster, the one of just his head with the sailor's cap. You'll know it, David. That's probably my favourite movie poster of all time. I love some of the Japanese, equally the Japanese discography is fantastic, but their movie art was great as well. Probably the finest out of, USA and UK. But there are some really good UK differences, as you rightly pointed out, Mark, that you look at and you think, cool, yeah, that's cool. So that was kind of the mindset when I wanted to move into this part. I don't know when you started recording this, Adam, but if you're just joining, this was an ensuite that we took out, and then I was able to add some movie posters, because I am heavily into the movie memorabilia. I love it. Equally the movie soundtracks. But yeah, it's all fun.
I got double trouble. I got double trouble. I got double trouble. Twice as much as anybody else. Oh yeah.